Okay, this is Hyannis News, and we're broadcasting from the Kennedy compound today. And I have somebody here that's very special. I'm interviewing somebody very special, and I chose this location because not only is it beautiful, it's a wonderful part of our history. And I also wanted to, send a very powerful message and image of contrast to what we're seeing just not very far from here in Hyannis. Yesterday, I had the opportunity. One of the Kennedy women came out. Courtney Kennedy came out. She was very, very nice, very friendly. Once I explained to her what I was doing and that I wasn't trying to spy in their windows with my powerful camera, that sort of thing. She gave me the go-ahead also, and her blessing to continue on here. I think she understood what I'm trying to do. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about like the stigmas attached to drug addiction, and they're trying to change that. But I think we need to also take that a little bit further because there's, we also need to change the stigma attached to downtown Hyannis Village and its family neighborhoods. Okay, so right now we have a very negative stigma attached to our family neighborhoods, and it doesn't need to be like that, and it shouldn't be like that because we have so many wonderful people down there. I'll just quickly, I'll get back to this afterwards, but my friend gave me an analogy. He calls it the bird feeder effect. He says, like we put the bird feeder out, and when you put in like services for addicts in southeastern Massachusetts or services for the homeless in this region, I mean, you're going to attract those types of individuals. But I don't know if that's necessarily always fair for the existing families and the existing people in need in our village. So, what I suggest is maybe even considering putting in different things in the bird feeder, maybe like jobs. If you put a lot of really good jobs in the bird feeder, what will you attract? Hopefully, young working families. And that leads me to today's guest. Okay, and so what's your name?
Heather Bosworth.
Heather, this is my first time meeting Heather, but Heather's been sending me messages on Hyannis News because she sees that Hyannis News basically shows a lot of the negativity that's happening in Hyannis, and she's right. I am basically what's called a stringer, and I go out and film emergencies, and it's not always pleasant, but I always love to find the positive stories as well. And she wanted to send a positive message as well, and I've been dying to meet her. Heather, can you just tell us a little bit about your story and why you wanted to meet me?
I just feel like there's a lot of negativity surrounding, the epidemic. There's nothing positive. There's no hope out there. When you're an active user, you see all the overdoses and, jail, and you think that's it. You don't see the message of hope, that you can change your life around.
So Heather, you're very special because you have some very important inside knowledge of the epidemic yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I am a recovering addict. I've been sober for almost a year now, so I know exactly what it feels like to be in that position, being an addict. I was an addict for about 7-8 years. Started with pills and then switched to heroin very quickly. And everything just went downhill within a year. Lost everything, and it's very hard once you're in there to get out. I never thought I would see the day where I was sober.
Appreciate you sharing that with us and being brave enough to come forward and speak out. Can you tell us a little bit about your life leading up to recovery?
My life leading up to recovery was hectic. I lost everything. I lost custody of my daughter. I overdosed 3 times in a week. The last time I overdosed was before Thanksgiving. I was dead. They pronounced me dead. They were very shocked to actually see that I'm alive and not a vegetable. And I didn't even stop using there. I kept using, and then my dad sectioned me December of last year. And that was a wake-up call.
And I just met your father. He seems like a very nice individual. Can you tell us about that relationship and how it was when you were active?
When I was an active user, I barely talked to my family. I barely saw them. They'd call and I would ignore them. There wasn't really a relationship. I mean, they were always loving and supportive, but my whole thing was just drugs. That's all I cared about was drugs.
You're a local girl. You're from here, right? You grew up. Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Hyannis, born Cape Cod Hospital, my whole life.
And did you go to the Barnstable school system?
Yes, I did. I dropped out of Barnstable, actually, sophomore.
Is that when your problems with drugs began at that point?
I'd say around that age, I started drinking very young, and then I quit drinking, and then that's when I started switching to drugs.
You're trying to send a message to other addicts that are active right now. Can you share with us what like your biggest motivator or your inspiration, or what was it that drove you to the difficult, but rewarding journey of recovery?
It was my daughter, actually. After I lost custody of my daughter, my parents got custody of her, thank God. And, I didn't see her, speak to her for months, weeks. We did everything together, and then all of a sudden I just wasn't in her life. And, I remember, even looking back now, just, all she wanted was her mommy. And that really, I wanted to give her the best life possible. And she deserves her mommy, and, not a drug-addicted mother.
How long did it take you to get your daughter back and to get back into active parenting of your daughter?
About a year. Once I started coming back around and started becoming sober, I moved back in with my parents. They had custody, but then I started taking my role back as her mother. My parents, didn't do anything. All they had to do was sign her school paperwork. I was getting her ready for school, and I was being a part of her life again and not just absent. Even I've gained her trust back, which is awesome, but there's even still to this day some moments where I have to explain to her, like when I leave, that I will be back. I'm not going to be gone. And, my daughter has taught me unconditional love, because she'll talk about it sometimes, and even she'll say, "You were always the best, Mommy." Breaks my heart. It really does.
But it's also very encouraging, because you don't hear this story too often, but it is possible, isn't it?
Yes, it is possible. And once you get over the hump, you get through the sickness, and, a lot of addicts don't want to become sober because you have to deal with the wreckage that you caused, all the relationships that were broken. Even sometimes to this day, I still have to deal with some of the stuff that I did while I was an active addict. I had court, I had everything. Even it's just it, but eventually it does get easier and it does go away, and you start to have a normal life. Like my life right now is normal. I have a routine. I get my daughter ready for school. I pick her up. We go home, and there's none of this chaos that comes with being an addict. Because when you're an active addict, you're all day. It's just looking for drugs, searching for drugs, and it's not a life. It's not a way to live.
That leads me to an interesting question, because I have friends that are recovering, right? I have from like 3 years of recovery, 17 years, and one guy almost 20 years. And believe it or not, he's turned his life around in such a way. And I think maybe you can explain why he did it, or maybe how he did it. But he has so much energy, and he now owns businesses and stuff like that. Can you explain that? Can you see that happening in your life?
I definitely can. I've already gotten back so much being sober. I almost have my license back. I lost my license. I am actually in the CNA training program that I'm going to be doing after the baby comes. And, I'm close to an apartment. I'm actually getting more than what I had before I started using. And it's possible. You have to work really hard at it. Really hard.
Do you mind telling us just a little bit more about your family and the future of your family?
My family right now, the relationship with my parents is awesome. My mom tells me all the time she feels like she has her daughter back. My dad is so supportive. He takes me, I go to Habit Opco, I go to the clinic, and he takes me every morning, takes me to all my appointments. He makes sure, I get to where I need to go on time. He takes me out here to see my fiance all the time. it's nice to have a relationship with my parents again. I have a daughter who's 6. She's in kindergarten, started this year. I was very thankful that I was around for that, sober and around to see her start kindergarten. And I have another baby on the way, due any day now. So I'm really excited about that. I'm nervous. It's a girl.
I think I'm getting you in the shot there. The baby's right down there.
Yeah,
How awesome is that?
it's awesome. And, I don't know if I would have worked as hard if I didn't found out I was pregnant. I mean, I would have definitely worked hard because of my daughter, but, I don't. Now I have extra motivation. I am having a bigger family, and, I want my kids to grow up and be like, my mom did everything she could for us and to give us the best life, not go to school and grow up and be like, my mom was a heroin addict and we didn't have much. So it's an extra motivator.
You mentioned the work involved in this, and can you tell us a little bit about your, what your days are like and what you're doing with your days, aside from parenting, which is enough for anyone, but can you tell us a little bit about that?
My days, what I do, I'm working with career opportunities to get into the CNA training at Emerson. I was actually supposed to start last month, but something happened, so I have to wait until after the baby comes. But that's what I'm doing. I go to meetings, I have groups, I come out here and see my fiance all the time, and, my days are very calm. They're not hectic.
You can answer this if you like or not. It's aside from recovery and the good health that you have right now, what is your biggest dream? Do you have other dreams right now?
My dream is to actually one day, hopefully, be in one of these nice houses and, have a nice family and a car and have everything that I lost. And that's my dream. It's my goal, is to just work my butt off and just have the best life possible. I think I deserve it.
Are you happy now that you're in recovery?
Oh, I am more than happy. I'm more than happy. I feel like God gave me a second chance because I shouldn't be here right now, standing here. I was dead. I should have died, but, I know people have different beliefs, but I'm definitely here for a reason.
Yes, you are. I just wanted to briefly, we're out in front of the Kennedy compound, and people are driving by, and they always wonder what you're doing here, and but basically, I'm going to be going around to different villages and everything like that. What do you think about having the rest of the Cape's villages help out in, hosting programs and for maybe like the homeless and the addicted to kind of like get a little bit more help instead of putting it all in Hyannis? What do you think of that idea?
I think other towns should definitely help because this problem is I think 80% of Hyannis and Cape Cod is addicted to drugs right now, and it's the Hyannis. When you think of Hyannis, everybody thinks of Hyannis as where to get heroin, where to get help, where to get assistance, and these other towns aren't helping. And if these other towns did help, I think it would help the epidemic a little bit more.
Are all the addicts from Hyannis?
No, the addicts come from every single town that's in Cape Cod, not just Hyannis.
Do you think there's like addicts and people have problems with substances around here, right around here?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Actually, that's a trick question. I actually know there is, and they're being, and some of the people that live around here are actually being more open about that and writing books, which I think is very refreshing. I really, really appreciate speaking with you today. I've been looking forward to it, and unfortunately, with my schedule sometimes, as you know, we've been all set to talk and then something happens. Will you come out and talk to us again and tell us maybe later after that your baby's born, and will you come back on Hyannis News and tell us more about your progress, and maybe even have your other friends in recovery come out and share their message?
I definitely will. I mean, I think there needs to be more hope. I think news sites should focus more on the positive of this heroin epidemic instead of the negative. It'll give more people hope.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Although I'm in the news business, so I mean, my favorite stories are are the ones like when I show a trooper giving someone a teddy bear or something like that. But unfortunately, hard news. But this is great. This is wonderful information. I think it's going to help somebody else. And so, what are you going to do the rest of the day?
The rest of the day, I actually have laundry to do. So I'm just gonna relax, hang out with my daughter, do the normal Sunday stuff. I'm getting pretty tired easily these days, because any day my baby can come. So, pretty excited.
Well, you're a great person to talk to, and I'm really, really blessed to have you come out today and take part of your Sunday to speak with us and my audience. Okay, so I appreciate it and thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you listening to my story and being able to do this, because I really hope I've at least reached out to one person.
I believe you have. All right. This is Hyannis News. We're going to stop this interview at this point, but we're at beautiful Hyannisport. I love this place down here, and of course I'm very partial to the people that live in there, and I don't want to infringe on their privacy more than I have to here, because I want to just show people the contrasts. It's not very far from here, that we have such terrible problems, and but these problems are everywhere, as people say. But we also need to see the programs and the solutions everywhere as well. Okay, thank you.